Let's kick things off with one of the most cringeworthy moments in the interview history. Picture it, it's 2012 and Scarlett Johansson is on the Avengers press tour with Jeremy Renner. It should be a victory lap for one of the biggest movies ever. But then, Jerry Panacolai from Extra asks a question that instantly sucked the air out of the room. Were you able to wear undergarments? It wasn't just awkward, it was insulting. While her male co-stars were answering deep questions about character arcs and acting, Scarlett, a seasoned pro, was stuck talking about her underwear.
Now, were you able to wear undergarments?
Scarlett handled this perfectly. Instead of giving a polite, diplomatic non-answer, she confronted the absurdity head-on. You can actually see the genuine confusion on her face as she processes just how inappropriate the question is. But she didn't stop there. With the sharp wit she's known for, she didn't just answer the question, she completely flipped the script.
Since when did people start asking each other in interviews about their underwear?
That moment perfectly highlights the double standard that female actors face in Hollywood. However, inappropriate journalism comes in a different forms. If Scarlett's interview was inappropriate, Robert Downey Jr.'s 2015 interview was a full-on professional ambush. He was promoting Age of Ultron, but the interviewer quickly ditched the film discussion. Instead, he took a hard left, dredging up old quotes about Downey's addiction and prison time. Downey, who had spent years rebuilding his career, was forced to relive his darkest moments. You could see the intense discomfort. Downey tried to challenge the interviewer's lack of professionalism, but the reporter kept pushing into intensely private matters like his politics and his father. The tension maxed out. That is when Downey's patience finally ran out.
You've talked in other interviews again about your relationship with your father and the role of all of that in the dark periods you went through and taking drugs and drinking all of that. And I just wondered whether you think you're free of all of that.
Downey's pointed reference to Diane Sawyer was essentially him calling out the interviewer for turning a professional appearance into a therapy session. When it became clear the conversation wasn't going back to the film, Downey made a decisive move that became famous. He simply stood up, said goodbye, and walked out.
That's still
I'm
something.
sorry, I really don't. What are we doing?
Well, I'm just asking questions. That's all.
Right. Bye.
While Downey's experience showed how badly personal boundaries can be violated for sensationalism, our next example is a perfect case study of the objectification of a woman in Hollywood. The world of celebrity interviews is filled with glaring double standards, and few moments exposed these disparities as clearly as another moment from that 2012 Avengers press conference, where Scarlett Johansson was once again ready to call it out. The setup was ideal for showing the contrast. When Robert Downey Jr. fielded a question, it was thoughtful and substantive about his character's evolution and film's deeper themes. But then, the same journalist turned straight to Scarlett. Instead of asking her about her acting process or character development, the reporter asked her, "What did you have to do in terms of diet?" Her entire professional preparation was instantly reduced to what she ate. The contrast was so obvious and problematic that Scarlett Johansson certainly wasn't going to let that slide.
Like, how come you get the really interesting existential question and I get the rabbit food question?
What made the moment truly powerful was Robert Downey Jr.'s immediate support. Rather than staying silent, he jumped in to defend her, highlighting her intelligence and professionalism. This was about recognizing and addressing a systemic problem. While male actors are asked about their craft and artistic choices, female actors are routinely subjected to questions about their appearance, diet, and personal lives. In the pantheon of cringeworthy moments, few match the spectacular awkwardness of what happened when KTLA anchor Sam Rubin confused Samuel L. Jackson with Lawrence Fishburne in 2014. Jackson was there to promote RoboCop. Sam Rubin, a seasoned entertainment reporter, decided to bring up what he thought was Jackson's recent Super Bowl commercial appearance.
Did you get a lot of reaction to that Super Bowl commercial? What Super Bowl commercial?
Here's the massive problem. Jackson hadn't appeared in any Super Bowl ad. Lawrence Fishburne had starred in the Kia commercial, and Rubin had confused the two accomplished black actors. In the celebrity journalism, this isn't just embarrassing, it's a career-threatening blunder that exposes poor preparation and unconscious bias. Rubin quickly realized his mistake, but he seriously underestimated who he was dealing with. Samuel L. Jackson is not known for letting things slide, and his explosive reaction was about to begin.
You're as crazy as the people on Twitter.
Right.
I'm not Lawrence Fishburne.
That's my fault. I know that. That was my fault. My mistake. You know what?
We don't all look alike.
The power of Jackson's response was immediate. He didn't just correct the error, he used it as a major teaching moment about racial stereotyping in the most Samuel L. Jackson way possible.
You're the entertainment reporter.
Right.
You don't know the difference between me and Lawrence Fishburne.
The beauty of Jackson's approach was his ability to be both humorous and educational. He started rattling off the names of other prominent black actors like Morgan Freeman and James Earl Jones, making it clear that the problem wasn't just confusing two specific people, but the systemic tendency to treat black actors as interchangeable. By 2018, we truly hoped the industry had learned its lesson, but Avengers Infinity War press conference proved that some journalists were still stuck in the past, and Scarlett Johansson was yet again ready to serve as the voice of reason. She was seated alongside Chris Hemsworth and Dave Bautista for the culmination of a decade of the MCU. Questions should have focused on the topic of scope and emotional weight of the story. Instead, one reporter decided the most important thing to ask was about fashion. Specifically, what fashion elements does Infinity War use in the movies? The bias was clear. The woman at the table must be the one most interested in and qualified to discuss the costumes. Never mind her decade of Black Widow insight. Her response was a masterpiece of sarcasm and social commentary, wrapped in a polite answer.
I got the fashion question?
Out of all the reductive questions Scarlett Johansson faced, few captured the absurdity of gender stereotyping as perfectly as the choice between makeup and phone usage. In a 2012 promotional segment, a reporter asked her this profoundly trivial question.
So have you got any sort of cleansing tips on removing the tough to remove makeup?
Did you ever have to get painted? No, because some of the guys had to get painted and it's impossible to get off. Like, I think it was with them for weeks after.
This question was remarkable in reducing an accomplished actress to the most basic gender stereotypes. The premise was insulting. It assumed makeup and phone usage were her top priorities, completely ignoring her professional accomplishments. The fixation on Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow costume reached truly uncomfortable level, with repeated questions about what she wore underneath the iconic leather suit. This line of inquiry represents perhaps the most blatant example of how female performers were routinely objectified during what should have been professional promotional interviews, as one reporter pointed out.
One thing I've noticed a lot, especially from the press you did for the last film, was you seem to get stuck with the same questions all the time. What diet are you on? Can you wear underwear under the Black Widow costume?
The persistence of these questions across multiple outlets proved this wasn't one bad reporter. It was a systemic issue in entertainment journalism, embodying the broader problem of systemic objectification.